Hey everybody, back again. So the last time we were looking at this, it was doing the install. Excuse me. And in the meantime, while I was away doing something else, the system did a reboot. I could hear the monitor click, and then it did that green screen thing again, and now it's doing the fairly standard AIX boot up screen. And hey, look at that, we have a login. So now we get to start going through and doing system setup. You will have to bear with me because I don't have a lot of notes on this stuff. In retrospect, I probably should have taken better notes, but let's see here. Maybe? Okay. Yep. We've done that. Let's see here. We're on to the next page of my notes. Okay, apparently my notes say we should have the GNOME login screen. Well, we didn't. Okay, so what we're looking at here is indicate by clicking on the appropriate button whether you accept or decline the terms of service agreements covered by installing software. And we do. So we're going to go ahead and click accept. You could decline. I don't even know what decline would do at this point. And then there's the view licenses. So, you know, just for grins and giggles, let's click view licenses. And of course, it would be very, very slow to do that. That would figure. So I should back up a little bit. The setup and configuration of AIX is traditionally done with a program called SMIT, S-M-I-T. You can run it from the command prompt, you'll get into the installation setup. What we're looking at here is, what SMIT runs or is like a menu system for existing commands. So like if you want to add a new user, there's still the add user command, but this gives you a nice sort of graphical, if you will, interface for it. So when you get done executing or building the thing that you want to execute, it will then dump or show a command output of what you want it to run. The same thing happens in the graphical world. So here we have the output of what would have been the view licenses thing for a command prompt. So, you know, holy moly, you know, it's you'd never read all that, but, you know, it'd be nice if you could. But yeah, so here's the running command, you know, it says finished, successful. So we can go ahead and close this. That's okay. If we got this far in the AIX install, we probably want to install it. So we'll hit accept. And it says, congratulations, the initial portion of the installation is complete, but you might need to perform some additional configuration tasks or install software to finish setting up your system. So we're going to go ahead and click next. And the first thing it's going to do is going to give us a list of things that we're going to go through. So setting the date and time, setting the root password, setting up, excuse me, I just got done eating a waffle and it didn't go down right. Managing system storage, TCP network, configuring a web server, doing online documentation, and finally finishing the configuration system. So we're going to do next so we can verify the system date and time. And let's see here, we got April 19th, 2012 at 6:32 p.m. We are in Central United States time zone. Uncheck this box if your area does not observe daylight savings time. I believe we do. We do, so therefore you should keep it checked. So in other words, check this box if your area observes daylight savings time. It's double negative. So yeah, okay, we can go ahead and hit next. So now we're going to set the root password. Alright, hit next. Very straightforward. You could opt to not set a root password. Basically they're saying set a root password. So we will do that now. Go ahead and hit next. Password has been set. Hooray. Okay, now we're going to manage system storage and paging space. Okay. So, system's paging space is less than the recommended amount. Not surprising. Not having enough paging space may prevent you from configuring your network, installing software, or running applications. To increase your paging space to the recommended amount, click Next. To enter a different amount, do so. To skip without changing it, click Back. So right now it's saying that I have 512 meg of RAM, I have 7.8 gigabytes free on the drive. It's recommending that we use 512 megabytes for the paging space. It's currently set to 64, so we'll go with 512 megabytes. So we hit Next. You can hear the drive doing some things there. Okay, so we get to move on. Okay. So now we're going to configure the network communications. Let's see here. I have been doing automatically configure TCP/IP using DHCP. So we're going to go ahead and hit well, let's do it manually. I should be able to do it manually. Okay, so you could do DHCP. I'll probably do another video where I do a KDE install and I'll do DHCP there. But for the purposes of this, let's do manual. So the host name is going to be Rincewind, RINCEWIND. IP address 192.168.123.80. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.0 for my network. Go ahead and click Next. It does give you, it gives you some examples. You could do an IP6 address too. So again, not too bad for, what is the date on this stuff? 2003. They had IP6 capabilities already. So I'm doing Next. Here's the thing where you got to select which Ethernet adapter we're going to be using. This is what got me with this system. If you look at some of the other videos, I show that it has a network card and it has a spot where it could have had an onboard network card. And so what's weird is that it gives you 4 options. You have EN0, EN1, ET0, and ET1. And I mean, it's standard Ethernet network interface or IEEE 802.3 Ethernet interface. It's basically the same thing. And I had to go through and test every one of those in order to figure out which one it was. It took me forever. Let's see here. What I found is that EN1 is the correct Ethernet adapter. EN1, not EN0, as I would have thought, but EN1. Why? Couldn't tell you. And that's the off-board microchannel 10100 network card. So, okay, we'll hit Next. And the media speed will do auto negotiation. That's just fine. The default gateway address is going to be 192.168.123.1. The domain name in this case is abalux.dns.biz. The IP address of my name server is 192.168.123.1. We go ahead and click Next. And we're going to check these settings: IP address, EN1, subnet, gateway, domain name, name server. Okay, go ahead and click Next. And here it's bringing up the Ethernet interface, saying, yep, EN1, Rincewind, INET0 changed, EN1 changed, and it looks like it finished successfully, and then here it says, completed successfully. Do OK. And here's a little thing, it won't close out this details window, so you just hit close on that. Now, configure a web server to run web-based system manager in a browser. Okay, let's try that out. I honestly don't remember what I had to do on this one. Okay, so web-based system management tools can be configured so that you can manage your system from any client machine with a Java-enabled web browser. Remote system management requires that web server software be installed and configured on this machine. Okay. Analysis has detected that the following product has already been configured as the default web server software for this machine. The IBM HTTP server. Then give some paths to the root documents, the CGI bin directory. If this is correct, do you want to configure? Sure, yeah, let's go ahead and use that one, because I'm not really going to go about trying to figure out another way to do this. So there it says now I could go to this web page and manage my server. So let me write that down, because amazing. I've never actually tried this. So we'll go http://hostname/wsm.html. So we'll try that on a different machine here at some point. We'll go ahead and click next. Okay, so do we want to configure the online documentation library service? So let's go ahead and click next. If I remember correctly, this doesn't actually work because I'm missing one of the CDs in my set. Documentation library services installed by default when the operating system is installed. It allows users to read online documents and some help files. If you do not want to install the manuals, you should still configure the library service, since some applications depend on it to serve their manuals and help files. Okay, fair enough. So we'll go ahead and click next. Let's see, set up the documentation library services on this computer. Yeah, otherwise it's read from a remote server, which we don't want to do. Let's see here. Yes, remote users use the documentation library services. Yep, we want to. Right, so do you need any remote networked users to be able to use the documentation library service on this computer to read documents installed on this computer? So in other words, do we need to have remote users be able to read things off of this server? So I'm going to say no, we don't actually need to do that. So what do we want, simple or advanced? I'm going to go with simple. So, do we want, there's no record that the Netscape browser has ever been installed on this computer. You need the browser to use the documentation functions. Sure, let's use Netscape. Why not? So, you'll be installing from a CD or tape. Insert the expansion pack CD number 1 or the base operating system tape into your install device now. So, we need to select the CD drive, eject the CD, and I had the Linux disk in there. There's disk number 1. And then I have volume 5 of 5 now. And here's expansion pack. Yep, so we'll put that one in there. Wait for it to be ready. There we go. Go ahead and click next. And it's going to be running some things here. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Waiting. Oh, I'm seeing now that there's a pretty bad black bar moving down the screen on my camera here. Hopefully we can work around that. Okay, it's looking at netscape.communicator.all as the file off of the CD. Let's see, 3 selected to be installed, of which 3 passed the pre-install verification. Cool. That's Netscape Communicator 4.8.0.10. Had increased the size of the file system. It's scrolling up there. One of the nice things about using the IBM software installer is it will expand volumes as necessary, because when it installed the OS, it only made, you know, like the var and the slash and the user file systems as big as it needed to, whereas everything, and then it left the rest of the disk unallocated. I'm sure I could go into the LVMs and the disk managers and explain all that as well, but I think we'll leave that for another video. Plus, I need to brush up on what in the world I'm talking about. So it's still restoring some files here. wonder if I put my hand in here, will it? Well, okay, so I can't prove that that is doing anything. Maybe it is. I think it is doing something different with the resolution on that monitor, or not the resolution, but the frame rate. I wonder, turn off my side lights, maybe? No, that doesn't seem to change anything. Turn on an overhead light, maybe? Well, either way, I'm going to have to do something about that. That's really obnoxious to look at, I'm sure. I'll move this back a little bit, maybe. Oh, maybe if I do that. Bring it just a little bit tighter. Hey, maybe that'll do it. Maybe that'll do it. Pretty interesting that it does that. See, if I hold my hand there. Now, of course, I may be talking like a crazy man, and this you can't actually see on the recorded video. This may simply be in the on the viewfinder here on the camera. And we're still waiting. Still waiting. Oh, there we go. Yay, it's done. So, okay, now it says we've detected you already have a version of the library installed. Maybe a newer version on the CD. Click next to see if it is available. Okay. Sure, go ahead and scan that CD-ROM. I don't believe there is. Boy. Wow, okay. The correct file sets cannot be found in the device you chose. Please click the back button and insert the proper media or choose the proper drive. Oh, I see. It says insert the base operating system CD number 1. Okay, so we gotta eject the expansion volume and install disk number 1. Helps if you read this stuff, I suppose. What's the fun in that, though? Alright, so drop down, select that, next. Oh, now it's reading the CD drive. That's a good sign. Still kind of sitting there. Dooby-dooby-doo. Dooby-dooby. Dooby-dooby-doo. Doo-doo-doo. See a lot of hurry up and waiting on this thing. Told you. Ah. And yeah, it's really working a lot to see if there's just an updated version, so maybe it's installing the update as well. Let's see here. File imnsearch.all. I'm the search. Weird. Still waiting. I have an ant on the side of my monitor. Get off of there, you. Hey, get. Shoo. Get off of there. What's wrong with you? Why do I have an ant on my monitor? That's really weird. I mean, I guess. I mean, it's April, you know. It's getting warm. Maybe they're around now, but weird. Okay, so right now it is saying Please insert volume number 4 into the device and press enter to continue. So we will eject that disk. Scrounge up disk number 4 here. I'll get it out of the CD binder. Volume 4. That disk in there. See, now this is another one of those situations where you got to kind of watch this command window and see what's going on. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter. It starts reading the disk. And looks like it's installing. It has 33 files to process. For what? I couldn't tell you, but it's installing something. Well, I'm going to stop the recording now, and I'll come back to this once it's finished. That way my camera can take a rest here for a second, and I can put a new SD card in. So stay tuned for the exciting conclusion of the software install.